in our police negotiation, August 6th, 2025. This is the City of Lamarque Police Association Collective Bargaining Agenda. Notice is hereby given that the City of Lamarque, Texas, and the Lamarque Police Association will conduct a meeting on August 6th, 2025, beginning at 1 p.m. in the council chambers, 1109B Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas. In accordance with Section 551.127B of the Texas Government Code, the presiding officer and the quorum intend to be and will physically be present at 1109B Bayou Road, Lamarque, Texas. This location will be open to the public, and the meeting will be broadcast at this location on Channel 16 and via YouTube. The City of Lamarque, Texas, and the Lamarque Police Association will meet for the purpose of considering the following agenda. The meeting has been called to order. We will now have our own roll call. We will go around the table, reintroducing ourselves for the record. And then we'll move to our invocation and our pledge. My name is Keith Bell. I serve as the mayor of the City of Lamarque.
My name is Gus Knable. I'm the outside city attorney for the city of Lamarque. You want to go?
Dashcan 2, Sergeant with Lamarque Police Department.
Stephen LaCroix, Association member.
Conan King, Association member.
Richard Garcia, President of the Association.
John Kerr, I'm with the Combined Law Enforcement Associations of Texas, and I'm assisting Lamarque Police Association as their lead negotiator.
Randall Aragon, Chief of Police.
And Barbara Holly, interim city manager.
Thank you all for your attendance today. We'll move now to our invocation and our pledge. Mrs. Holly has volunteered to lead us in our invocation. Mr. Knable has volunteered to lead us in our pledge. And if you're able, please stand.
Please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, for thine is the kingdom and the heaven. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Holly. Thank you, Mr. Knable. Now move to our citizens' participation, limited to 3 minutes. Comments from the public will be heard at this time. Any person with city-related business who has signed up may speak to council, limited to 3 minutes. If wishing to speak, give the mayor or the presiding officer your full legal name, address, and item you wish to speak about. Compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the city may not deliberate on comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed. Personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. Press *6 to mute or unmute yourself if you're participating via telephone. If you're participating on the Zoom platform via smartphone, tablet, or computer, there should be a microphone icon in the lower portion of your screen. If you are here with us in person and you are wishing to speak, you may approach the table and we will afford you a microphone, and our IT person will be our time taker. Are there any persons online wishing to speak? Any persons here with us in person wishing to speak? Very good. We'll move to item 5, new business, items presented for discussion and possible action. Negotiating economic and non-economic terms of the police collective bargaining agreement, setting a date and time for future meetings. We will move to item 5.1. Let us say that we are honored again to sit at the table with our police association. We thank you, and I don't think that we can thank you enough for your service to our community. We know that the most basic function of any judicial body or any municipality is to keep our residents safe. And you are integral, instrumental, paramount to doing just that. You risk your lives on behalf of our community, and we say thank you 1,000 times over. But that does not feed your families. I wish that it would, because all of you would be millionaires. But it doesn't feed your families. It does not provide you with the necessary training, equipment, schooling, and protection that you need to risk your lives for us. And so here we are today in the midst of another negotiation so that our community can do more than just thank you. We also want to thank you for your patience. As I shared with Mr. Garcia on a phone call, the city tripped a bit internally, and we fell down. And there's no shame in that. And thank you for helping us back up with your patience. And so now we have a city manager in place, and we look forward to moving our city forward. And today is a big step for us in that effort. In past times, our lead negotiator was our former city manager. Today, we're asking our city attorney, since he has been here from the beginning of these negotiations, to step forward and be the lead negotiator on behalf of the city of Lamarque. But again, we say thank you 1,000 times over. You all have done more than just protect us, but you have been patient with us through this process.
All right. So, my thought here, I know we had proposed, the city had proposed some items to the union to discuss. We have also taken what y'all said to us and discussed amongst ourselves, kind of changed what we were looking, or basically discussed amongst ourselves where we could change what we were asking for. So if you like, I can go through where our position is now, if you would like, and then y'all can do the same. Or we can do something else. Let me know.
It has your position, so the items y'all asked for, it's been a few meetings back.
Yeah, so
Have those changed or have they?
sure. So we have not added items. Let me be clear. Like, for example, one of the things was, I know initially we had talked about a 3-year contract. Given where the city is financially and in its budget, we felt that a 1-year contract would be better. That way we can come back and discuss not that we are not proposing a raise, but we could discuss we do not feel that it is best right now to plan for a 3-year raise in the position we're in. That's why we were going to propose a 1-year contract with a 1-year raise and then come back to this again next year. If that does, so we can do that. I can start with where we are, or if y'all have discussed where you're with your members, it's up to you. Let me know how you want to.
Gus, we were prepared to move forward at this time and explain to you the membership perspective on
Perfect.
the issues that we've done.
Perfect.
But it may be better for you to go ahead and reemphasize what you're talking about now. And that way, if there's any modification, then our team might want to take a caucus and go discuss them.
Yeah.
We've talked with the membership and a multitude of issues.
Right.
But and not that I think there's going to be any new issues, but if you decide to withdraw something or modify something, it might be it'd be doubling the effort if we don't wait and hear you out and then
Yeah,
go
and
forward.
we appreciate the unions working with us, and so we didn't. While there is definitely, we want to be respectful of you all's time and say to you, hey, tell us all these, and then we say, oh, we didn't want that anyway. So that's kind of where we're coming from, and would appreciate. So I'll just go ahead and get started then. As I said, we were looking more to we're looking at a 1-year contract, as I said. Reason being the financial raises that you all asked for require more in-depth plan, more substantive planning that the city wants to do. But just given the turnover, it's not really possible at this time. As far as the raises are concerned, the city wants to stick with the step decrease. We did some rough math on that. We believe that increases salaries to the department, the salary budget, approximately $200,000, which comes out to a 5.5% increase, an annual increase. I'm not saying that everyone's going to get a 5.5% raise. What I'm saying is that the salaries to the salary budget is going up 5.5%. That's the number we've come up with. I mean, if the union wants to discuss amongst itself and make proposals on, we've proposed how that would be allocated. The union wants to make a counter proposal on that, we're happy to hear it. As far as the appointed positions are concerned, those would be 2 captains, 2 lieutenants, and 1 sergeant. Those are subject to council funding, first of all. Council has to fund them. And what we are, as we discussed last time, we are not proposing that that's going to decrease the number of appointed positions that I'm sorry, the tested positions. I misspoke. Those will stay the same, and we are and that will also accompanying that. I know John and we had spoken a little 2 times ago about, or 3 times ago now, maybe. That of course, if somebody's appointed, they can still test. If somebody's tested and they want to be appointed, they can be appointed. But this is not being done as a means to decrease the tested positions.
Can you give me those numbers again? You still want what positions?
Sure, yeah. So those would be 2 captains, which would be new, 2 lieutenants, and 1 sergeant. And the thought is that those are going to be administrative. The thought there is that those people would be performing administrative functions that would allow the other members of the department to spend more time out actually on patrol and doing police. Not that administration is not police work, doing investigatory and patrol work. As far as next, the compensatory time, the city right now, as we discuss, it's not unique to your department. It's across the entire city workforce. It's just there's a ton of, everyone is sitting on a ton of comp time, vacation time, and it's a huge unfunded liability to the city. So what the city is proposing to do is to cap it at 180 hours and then pay out. If you have more at the end of the year, the city just pays that out.
So it's paid out yearly?
Yes.
Wait.
Will be paid
I
out
think.
in the next payment date. You said yearly?
Yeah.
No, he's asking.
Yeah, he asked, we're paid, like if this year, like, let's say, next year, somebody's sitting on 190 hours of, I'm sorry. If next year somebody's sitting on 190 hours of comp time, the city's gonna pay out 10 hours. If the year after that, somebody's sitting on 200, the city will pay out 20 at that time.
So, and this is just me trying to get the logistics down. If you're proposing that, so you're not gonna, if I have 180 hours and then a hurricane or whatever hits and I throw 30 hours of my comp time, it's not gonna raise a red flag until the end of the year where I get paid out. So it can go, worst case scenario, I work a ton of overtime, but I take it as comp and I have 300 at the end of the year. It's gonna be fine until the end of the year, then it goes back down to 180 and it's paid out.
Right.
So we can go above the 180.
Right, yeah.
So-
Yeah, the 180 is really the cap on the
And
carryover.
we call them the year, the calendar year, the physical year.
I would assume it'd be the fiscal year because that's how y'all's
So that's
contract
what-
runs and that's how the city pays everyone else.
I would say fiscal year with a payout in December.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the fiscal year ends September 30, that gives the city 60 days to calculate whomever had an overage of over the 180, give you a payout at the beginning of December. And it perhaps might look to your families like a bonus,
Christmas.
Christmas bonus.
So, on the certification pay issue, the city is proposing retaining all existing certification stipends along with retaining the existing assignment and longevity pay. The uniform allowance, the city is proposing a one-time uniform allowance of $1,020 to be distributed annually this would be in conjunction with, you all's longevity check that you receive.
What's that number? 1,000
$1,020.
a year?
It's just a one-time uniform allowance. And would it be a year? I mean,
Well, it's a
if we
one-year
do, it's a
contract.
one-year contract. So yeah, yeah. So yeah.
So would that be, currently, we receive pay for uniforms and ammunition on a monthly basis, correct? And so this would be in addition to that or in lieu of that, or
In lieu,
so instead of having the monthly payment?
right? We would just give you a one-time allowance for it. And we can discuss the timing of that if y'all want that at the beginning of the fiscal year.
It seems like we would get taxed more on a one lump sum than one. Well, we would actually be getting less money, but
Well, your taxes are coming out regardless, whether they come out in 12 increments or,
Well, but if you get $10,000 one pay period versus the next pay period, $5,000, payroll has to abide by the IRS charts.
So the bracket would
And
change.
so whatever bracket you're in may have a negative impact on the payment, whereas just monthly or, per pay period, however it's currently done now, means that it's gradually over the entire year, so.
85 is a lot less than 1,000.
Yeah.
And, if 85 is on a check versus $1,000 increase on that check, the taxes are going to be completely different. You'll pay more taxes on 1,000 lump sum than you will on an 85.
Okay.
Across the year.
because I'll use me as an example. There was one pay scale bump that I got, this is years ago. But we get a big check, which has our certification pays and our whatever. And that check should have been like $300 or $400 more, but for some reason it bumped me up. And so I was only getting like $50 more between my paychecks it was for like a year or two, and then it worked its way out. But yeah, I think that, and I mean, we can discuss it, we can bring it to the membership, but I think.
Yeah.
In hand money, I think that would give us
Y'all
at
would,
least a little bit less.
the membership would prefer the monthly stipend. Okay.
I would think so right now, but
Well-
we can obviously bring it to them to discuss.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can ask them, but honestly, it's already, why change it? If the city's not gonna entertain the idea on this one-year contract to increase that amount, why not leave it as it is? So it'd be no payroll change, no
Yeah,
change,
and-
because it's the exact same amount of money.
Right,
whether you
and
pay it, by pay period, by month, or.
Right,
by
and I think what,
annual
yeah,
stipend.
I think what the city was trying to do is if y'all had like boots, if those are more than $85.
Right.
So this would allow you to
Right.
buy them now, as opposed to having to save up your equipment stipends. But that was the city's thought.
We certainly appreciate,
Yeah, so
your mindfulness to think about that, but like I said, in this day and age, I think we all got credit cards, and if we have to make a purchase, we can, and so.
Yeah.
I think it would just, overall, we wanted to project an increase that would be more consistent with the labor market around the area, so.
then the stuff about the shift change. For an officer, so whenever basically the rescheduling is happening, let me see. So it's for an officer working a specific shift or an officer customarily assigned to an administrative role. So that way, if you have people working a normal 8 to 5 in an administrative role, we will notify you at least 7 calendar days in advance, and we can only do that once a month. So
So that changed, it was twice a month before, now it's
It's,
Once a month.
yeah, yes, that may occur only once a month. And of course, if the department and the member mutually agree, that's fine, and then emergency situations too. And so emergency situations, so.
Before we step off to the next thing, so what we've been doing is we've been bringing everything that y'all have brought to us to our members. So we can't give you a
No, I,
yes or no now.
I know,
That's what I'm
no,
sure.
no, yeah, no. Trust me, and I think my humble opinion, it would be unfair, as gracious of y'all as y'all have been with us, I think it would be unfair for us to not extend that same to you all. Then we talked about the appointed positions and the comp time, so.
Can I get a little clarification on
Sure.
the steps that y'all? You threw a number out there, I think it was 200.
Yeah.
200,000 or something.
200 is the
So,
net, and
is
I
that-
will tell you that is math that the department was doing, so please.
So when we're looking at, it would stay the same way that y'all proposed before,
Right,
we take out the step. And that's with no percentage pay increase to everybody, it's just y'all are counting taking the steps out. as
correct,
The pay increase.
correct,
So that
correct.
would not affect right now would not affect the corporals,
The-
sergeants.
yeah,
or
the
lieutenants at all,
corporals,
or any
sergeants,
officers that
and
are
look-
topped out.
That's correct, and
That's what-
the thought there is that come back next year and talk about and do more fiscal planning on the 3-year raises for everyone is the thought there. So, and then, there was just so, and the other issue on the extra jobs, the no extra jobs for sergeants and above, what the city has discussed, we're proposing to leave that as it is today.
So
So
what?
proposing to leave it as it is today.
So not.
So you're basically taking that away off the table.
We're taking it away from ourselves. How's that- is that- We want to keep the policy as it is. So.
We can, do you have anything else, Gus, that you're trying to?
I went through my list. That's everything that I have.
Did
Sure.
we're going back to the pay scale just because that's what it's written on.
Yeah.
So is this still eliminating the corporals? Are
No,
we still-
I'm sorry. So the management discussed it and the corporal, no, the corporals are going to stay and there will continue to be 3 of them. And I just also want to be clear. We were not going to, at no point was management proposing to demote the corporals. They were going to stay. It was just any elimination of that position would have been through natural attrition. I just want-
You said 3 corporals. You
Sure.
meant like. We have 5.
Right. Yeah, we're not proposing to eliminate that position. Correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
There needs to be more discussion on that. I need a little more education on the idea that corporate should be eliminated. So we're gonna put a pin on, and that from our side.
And we still had questions too. But
Yeah.
if it's a.
We did a lot of good work. To get corporate, because you all sergeants were so busy. That you needed help, right? In real time, in the field. You needed somebody, another pair of eyes to help guide some of our young officers. And then 1 sergeant per shift, when that sergeant's on vacation, sick, hurt, whatever. The idea that we don't have another person designated to step up, trained to step up. That never sat well with me. So I think we should, and Ms. Holly, I'm sure is hearing this first time as well. But I think we should put a pin in that. Definitely.
Okay, well, we appreciate, you making the clarifications and laying out some additional information. We want to, at this juncture, last meeting, we intended to, basically give you a point by point response to the things that the city had placed on the table. And so now it'd be appropriate. And then once we've done that, it might be more appropriate for then we break and everybody has an opportunity to discuss it and then come back together. So everything that we were given previously, the association went back and sat down with its entire union membership and went point by point with the different things. And so I'm going to leave pay to the end, but I'm going to go down the other aspects of this. The membership at large doesn't necessarily appreciate the appointment system with regards to ranks of sergeant or lieutenant. It's kind of believed throughout the ranks that this would be kind of prejudicial to get an order when we've been in the civil service city for many years and we've had a structured promotional process. We don't necessarily believe it would be in the best interest of the department or the membership to go to an appointment system within the ranks. Now, that doesn't prevent us from wanting to have a dialogue with you if the city wants to add an additional appointed position for the future, another assistant chief, maybe a rank or classification above that of lieutenants. We'd certainly want to join with you and have a dialogue about that. But to mix the way that someone becomes a lieutenant or to mix the way that they become a sergeant from a test to an appointment, it's a quantum leap for our members to think that that would be appropriate. So that's where, like I said, we do want to talk to you. It's not that we're flatly opposed to maybe an additional position being appointed in the upper echelon management of the city, because but we don't know what that would look like. Is that it could be an assistant chief position, so you have two, or it could be a major's position, commanders. I mean, what you call it's not really material, even if it's captain. But we'd like to have that conversation with you if that is your intent, to try to create some, I guess, additional appointments that answer directly to the chief. So as far as the 180, you kind of added some aspects to that, and I don't think that we're in disagreement with that. I think we'd already come to a full resolve that that was probably a better option to not have that unfunded liability for the city. Whether or not you do it on an annual basis or we do it, I mean, I would suggest you might want to look at it, because paying people once they get 180 per pay period may be a better use of the city's money. But we're okay if you want to do it at an annual basis and make it like many cities do that. I'll say that in the December area, it's not uncommon to see this type of situation occur. So I'm sure the membership will be all for that one extra payment in December, if that's, where we want to go with the phasing the corporals out is off the table, as you stated, but we did want to discuss with you if the chief's goal is to try to create a 2-sergeant shift system. We're certainly willing to discuss that, and I'm assuming those would be new positions, whether they're phased from corporal or not. But if we're going to do a 1-year contract and leave things as they are, so and then really the last thing, we kind of went down the list, but you modified it somewhat. So the last issue on our list is basically the pay level. And although we can appreciate trying to work through the compression of the pay plan and move it along, in any given moment, you got to count the heads. And when you're talking about giving, half the union a raise, but not the other half, I don't know that we can make that pass. So we have to look at a set of circumstances by which, every member has to be involved in a situation. And, there is cost of living, and everyone has, to face those things. If we're talking about a 1-year contract, I don't know that what you, laid out to us is going to work with the membership. You know, and it's like I said, sometimes we just have to sit down and count the numbers. And so if the number of people who will not get any increase whatsoever outweighs those that will, you know, we can't get a vote on the contract. So we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. And we'd like to work with you on that to try to come up with something that on a 1-year basis makes sense. And, you know, because we understand where the city is, we understand from the standpoint of going on, but we also have brought to you in good faith valid materials that show where this city fits with regards to its comparators run. And we also know those comparators are collective bargaining cities as well. And so on October the 1st, their contracts dictate what kind of raises they get. So our estimations are dead on. And so we already know that, you know, officers are 6% behind the market today. And when I say the market, let's all be clear that we're talking about at the 50th percentile of the market, our officers are 6% below that. Our supervisory staff are 7.6 and some change, but behind that midpoint average, if you will, or the midpoint market median. And so to say that the city hasn't any money to give those folks a raise is going to be difficult. So we're going to have to roll up our sleeves, I believe, and try to come up with something that will, you know, benefit everyone in the bargaining unit, and at the same time, you know, stay within the city's, you know, desired budget, you know, constraints. But I don't think that we're willing to say that no raise for everyone above the rank of officer is not going to be a good game plan for us moving forward. So anything that I left out, do you want to bring up?
I don't know, you discussed the 7-day notice for shift change. And originally, during y'all's original proposal, it was 24 days a year they could change, and you've reduced that to 12. I believe the majority of the association that voted was opposed to the original 24. And I don't know I mean, 12 is obviously, it's better. It doesn't affect, it affects people half as much.
50% better.
50%, right? The easy number, but even then, that might be. We'll have to bring that to the association, but I think we've covered everything else that we discussed.
I would also add on the comments that Richard just made. There's a certain amount of uncertainty when you put into the contract that the chief can change your days off with 7 days notice. I don't think that the chief has that intent for majority of the people. I think that we're talking about a very specialized assignment in all probability where when you accept that assignment, going to meetings may be your pastime, you know? And so we might want to explore some language that gives him that opportunity with those specialized assigned personnel. I mean, if I give you a letter that says, John, this is your work schedule, I've, you know, exceeded the requirement. There's nothing, you know, if I intend for that to be permanent, and then every other week there is a 7 o'clock meeting in the evening with a community group that it's going to be my job to make, then I can accept that position or reject that position. But the chief has, I think, the autonomy to say, hey, if you're going to take this position, I need it to be these community meetings. So if there's a specific problem that we're trying to fix with that, I think we can give the membership some ease to understand that and maybe figure out language that gives him the ability to do that, because you don't want to have to pay overtime every time that community meeting comes up that the chief really needs someone to be here.
John, let me clarify what I've been over this a few times, but we have 5 administrative people that work for us. We have 3 lieutenants. I have one person that's the program manager. So there's 4 people basically. We have Sergeant Cantu. He's basically administrative, works day shift. What we're saying is, for instance, and I use program manager, Sproul, but it could be the others. We are changing our comp staff briefings in September to start at 4 o'clock. They're now at 8:30 and they go till 10. They're going to go from 4 to 5:30. Sproul works from 8 to 4. Once a month, the way it stands now, for him to go to that meeting, it's going to cost me, our city, about $200 to $300 in overtime. If I have a lieutenant, Lieutenant Gandy, Lieutenant Anders, or Lieutenant Girod, if the deputy chief wants to have a meeting at 5 o'clock, because the city manager just can't meet other than that time, it goes up, the price goes up, and it only happens once in a while. So we're hamstrung with we're trying to keep overtime down. You wouldn't believe the systems that we're putting in place to reduce overtime. This is one of them. We're changing our canine handler training to be once a month for 12 hours with a corporal in charge of canines training, rather than going to League City. It's costing us 60, 70, 80 hours a month overtime. So we're really cutting back. So I want the ability to tell a lieutenant, I need you to come in 10 days, 7 days from now at 5 o'clock, flex your time. I can't do that now. So the only option I'd have is, if you don't agree on this, if the union does not agree on this, would be to be the next time I promote a lieutenant or somebody to program manager, I will put in writing, don't accept this position if you don't realize that you might have change. I might have to break up your month by letting you come in 2 hours later that one time a month. I'll do that if I have to, but I'm thinking I need that flexibility, because we're spending thousands of dollars for overtime for just that 1 or 2 hours. And I mean, I'm not going to wear anybody out with that kind of process. Believe me, we don't. It only happens once a month mainly. And that's why we said from 24 times to once a month. So that's what we're trying to do.
Right. I think the concern for the people that it did affect, and I mean, ultimately it could affect
Right.
anybody within the department that you are over, is that some of the meetings that we're having, and
Right.
I don't know the city,
I'm
manager,
just-
you use her as an example.
I'm using an example.
But I don't know, the Police Officers Association alumni, the
Right.
Citizens Police Academy, whatever. If that's something that you're wanting us to attend, then why, we could do it during normal business hours. That's what I'm saying. And I
But
think you mentioned Sergeant Sproul,
Yeah,
that there were some things that he was the liaison for. Then make those meetings between 8 and 5 or whatever his hours are, instead of making a 7 o'clock meeting, or,
but see, like you said, the CPA, that's their
You're not
meeting.
over
I
that.
can't change their system. They meet at 6 o'clock once a month. So he would actually work.
Right. Well, and I think we can talk more amongst ourselves about the administrative and logistic sides of having officers appear at community events and the costs that community partners,
Well, Gus, it is
the
helpful
cost
us,
to the city of that.
It is helpful for us to hear the chief's thoughts, because this is a problem that exists for him in the scheduling aspect, and we want to be sensitive and help him resolve issues if we can. We all know that money's money, so
Right.
it helps us to know
That's
what
why
he's
I did
talking
it.
about.
That's why I want you to understand why.
Right.
So,
Well, it's a problem that maybe we can roll up our sleeves and find some language that hits that happy medium, but still gives the guys on the street working day in and day out, don't want their hours changed random. And we all have families, and we
right.
want to spend as maximum sure we can. And when we talk about administrative folks, it may be somewhat different if you know the number of meetings you have to do and what you have to do. I think that's part of it. So we'll discuss it, see what we come up with.
Mhm. Y'all want to take a break and let us talk, and y'all talk everyone talk amongst themselves?
I think if you want us to run it out of the back and y'all stay here, or how you want to do it? Well-
It's up to y'all.
Yeah, we'll go to the back.
Yeah. The AC is working in the whole building, so.
Be back, try to get back about 10 minutes after 2. We also have a quorum. We're back from our caucus and so we've had a chance, the city's negotiating team had a chance to discuss what was brought to the table by the Police Association and vice versa. They've had a chance to discuss what we were proposing this afternoon. And we went first the last time, gentlemen. And so we invite you to lead us in this second portion of our discussion.
Well, as you can tell, we've been back and discussing the different aspects of this. Very, very difficult for us to understand where the city's trying to go with the dollars and cents of this, because, you know, we have a duty of fair representation to all our members, and to say that some members will not get a raise versus others who will just doesn't really set well, and it's not going to set well with membership. So we can already tell you that when we go back and have this dialogue with them, that's what we're going to hear from them. So, which there's corporals, sergeants, and lieutenants that are not being considered for any type of increase in salary, but yet, you know, like everyone here has to, you know, make ends meet. And so, we appreciate that, you know, you've looked at the pay plan and created some compression of the actual pay plan itself, but it doesn't really set forth sufficient funding for, based on what you told us, to incorporate you know, all the members of the union. And then we don't like to bring up the past, but by the same token, we'll remind you, and since I have the prior president at the table on the bargaining team, he can stand there and tell you that when we were here 3 years ago, there was a conscious effort. At that juncture, the city had a problem with fire pay, and it was very well illustrated, just like the survey that we've given you. We weren't quite as far behind as they are, and we appreciated the fact the city wanted to make that adjustment if it could. And so we took less, consciously took less, to give the city the ability to bring the fire salary up to the market median, which you've done an excellent job when you gave the 6, 7, 8%. And, you know, we had a 4, 5, 6. And so consciously our membership voted to help the city get down the path with the fire. They were further behind than we are. And so it also makes it difficult for us to go back today and sell our membership, who we just talked to, and Conan had to go in and explain in detail. In fact, I had to come back down here to help him with the membership because they really had a problem. But we explained them that our job is to work together and to benefit materially all the citizens of this city, and so they bought it. And now we're not even getting offered as much of what fire is getting offered, the way I see it. So now we do appreciate, you know, you wanting to do a 1-year contract. That doesn't upset us. You know, we can see that, but we got to have something that we go back to the membership with that constitutes at least the cost of living. And it has to be unilaterally set so that it affects everyone, or not, we start counting down the numbers. Like I said, everyone gets a vote on the contract. Everyone is a member of the bargaining unit gets to vote. And if the vote's, you know, 49, we don't pass the contract. So, you know, these numbers are very, very critical to that process. And so we do want to work with you. We do want to try to find that sweet spot if we can. And to that end, previously and other contract negotiations, all that I've been in, the city always provided us with a spreadsheet that allowed us to know what your thinking was, but also put the numbers together. And I still have those things. The only thing is I can't age it because you have new employees that have come on board. We can work it out, but in the interest of time, it would be so much easier if you provided us a copy of exactly the same spreadsheet that we previously worked with.
And their current salary versus what we're looking for them to go to?
Yes, ma'am, all that. It had I can pull it up and show you, but it was basically every named individual at the police department was on the spreadsheet with their anniversary date, and it also had their pay step rate, and then the cumulative total budget forecasted for annual, and then I use that also to add to.
We can distribute this, just don't remember. But I think that's what you're looking for.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Hey, there's two sides to every page.
What we have is very similar to this, but it was for the previous 3 years ago, so. And it's, if you already have this, that's a big jump, because we would have to figure out who is left and who's promoted, and who's whatever, but if we could get, this looks like it, John. So.
Yeah, we can-
Copy of
That's
it.
it,
We can email that to y'all. I mean.
right?
Does anybody want to take a picture of the other side real quick now? Oh, well, I was already at 0, so. I gotta give you some.
Start paying me work here.
Because we do have that, but it's the older one,
Right.
and I was gonna try to figure out how to put one together, and that would be great.
No, yeah, Michaela emailed it to me. I'll email it to, you want me to email it to John, or you want me to send it to you?
He's the man, send it to him, and we'll send it to us. Or you can send it to both of them.
Yeah.
Email it. And I did get your email.
How good?
I can build a spreadsheet, but this is what the city provided us last time. Which probably came from the finance director or something along those lines. I can replicate that with the information you give now. Setzer had given us and basically showed the cost.
I don't know what he's got.
I said,
He's got all his passwords.
I could put it back together, but
Can you? tailor that?
yeah, I can. I said there was a little bit more information in there, and I don't know that maybe the city manager did that for himself last time. I'm not sure. I suspect it was probably the finance director or a member of the staff that did it, but
Well, no, one thing the attorney was saying that is if we tell you the amount that we're looking at, do y'all want to see if y'all want to take that amount and split it among your membership differently?
well, that's certainly a great bargaining tactic on the city side. We tend to try to hedge our bets, if you will. If you say we only got 200,000, but 205,000 will get the job done, then that's what we try to work to. A lot of it has to do with currently our pay plan has differentials between steps that are not uniform. That was one of the things that we talked about last time, trying to make that and the compression and so forth. So we feel like we're better suited to come up with a number. May not be a number that you want to, honor, but we'll give it the old college try about trying to get the right number. We know what makes our membership tick, and we understand what they look at. We also know the dynamics. So if there's no one at top out officers pay and there's no one going to get that pay, then that may give us an opportunity to slide the pay plan as a whole one step to the left, if you will, the numbers, and then, lower the top out from the 15-year mark to as what someone did with your proposal. The only difference is we've broken the numbers down so we know the percentage between the steps, and really most police plans are uniformly graduated. And but sometimes because of mid-year adjustments or trying to give one group of officers, say, topped out a different race than others, sometimes it gets off, and that's what happened in this case from years past. And so you're trying to get that back together. But if you gave us a number, we'd certainly appreciate it. And like I said, with the information that we could be provided, basically the pay steps to the officers and how they shake out, then we can actually come up with something that is intelligent that we can pass back and forth to you so you understand where we're coming from. But, we don't feel comfortable going back to the membership with the methodology by which you have laid out for your pay salary increase proposal. Not to say it's bad, I'm just saying that we're looking at, maybe 50% of the membership starting out to begin saying, no, it's no, because I'm not gonna get a raise. And I hate to say this, but it's not greed, but it is situation. And, you feel fundamentally that we all need a salary increase. And although lieutenants may make more, they do a different job and they have different responsibilities. So they think they earn every single penny, just like the officers on the street think that they earn their money as well. So from that perspective, we'd like to work on the number. And so we don't have a positive answer for you today, for sure. And so as far as, I think we'll go along and tell you that the 1-year contract length is something that we can certainly, work into, and the membership will probably go along with, because it gives us an opportunity to come back. Maybe when the financial situation is a little different, you have a better grasp of finance. But I would comment that, the tax rolls back, how much money you got to work with, how you want to structure that budget. I think traditionally is leadership of the city manager and their staff, which you have had kind of an issue with, but we're certainly understanding of that. So the 1 year doesn't really upset us, but we do want to make sure that we get everybody a raise. I mean, so we have to. And is there anything else that you were thinking about? As far as future meetings, we're all in. But can you kind of give us an idea from a budgetary standpoint where you are as far as presentation to the council and those things? Have they, they're already well underway, or are we just getting started again? Or, when do you intend to try to get your budget, to market, so to speak, Mayor?
Well, we were presented on Monday with a budget that basically was based on a 45-cent tax rate. It's extremely problematic because we currently sit at a 39-cent tax rate. The budget was less than ideal. It was so concerning to Ms. Holly that she did not recommend that it be the budget that we worked from. She didn't recommend that we would even consider that budget from her professional experience. And so we are in the process of hearing our departments, analyzing their wants versus their needs. This year, we started with the smaller departments because every year historically we start with police and fire, and some of our smaller departments have been asking to go first for a few years. So we are, the process is well underway. We have been advised that we will have to cut about $2.5 million from that budget. But during the process, we also found areas where our revenue projections are extremely low based on current year-to-date information in those line items. And so what I would say is, and the police department has not been able to present yet. I believe they're on the schedule for later, Tuesday.
We could.
Next Tuesday. And so
Tuesday at 10.
Tuesday at 10. And so we haven't heard from our police department yet on their operating budget. But I will say that our budget is extremely fluid, but I will also say that there is opportunity for us as a council and as a community to accommodate our police association, especially when it comes to the idea that we leave no one behind. That's what you all do every day. You don't leave anyone behind, from your chief through to your newest officer. You all live by that. It's necessary for your survival, and we believe in that. And part of our discussion was just that. Now, it might be a little misguided in the idea that we know that we have a certain amount of financial resources. To ask you to divvy it up would be unfair because it causes infighting. I know that as an old union member among the rank and file. But our side is clear. We believe that every person that is in the negotiating unit deserves an increase of some sort. And so forgive us if we needed to be reminded of that. But we are clear now, whether you are a lieutenant, or whether you're a sergeant, whether you are a corporal, or again, a probationary officer, everyone needs an increase. And I believe we're going to do everything in our power within our limited financial resources to make sure that happens. Gus, did you want to add? We had some discussion about a few other things. Can I tell them now? Yeah. This discussion about sergeants, this is what I believe we are trying to say, because it concerned me as well. We are saying that we as a community are proposing to add 4 new sergeants. You have 5 now. We want to give you 4 more because we believe in this idea that there can be, I believe we're looking at an east side and a west side sergeant to help supervise our officers. The more supervision they have, the better work product that they will be able to deliver. Those positions will be tested, obviously, but we won't demote any corporal. So if there is a corporal out there who decides to test or even not test for these new sergeant positions, and they find themselves at the end of this promotion process still a corporal, they will always be a corporal unless they promote upward, right? So there will never be a time where our corporals will be demoted. There will always be a time where our corporals will have a chance to advance through the ranks through promotion. And if they fail in that effort, they will stay a corporal for the duration of unless they get demoted for other reasons that have nothing to do with this negotiation. So Gus, you had some other things that perhaps you might want to add to that.
Yeah, in following up on what you had said, John, it is the dual corporal or the 2 sergeant shift system. That's what that's what management was looking to get to. And then also on the appointed positions, what we're looking for is someone to assist with the administrative duties. So currently, the contract just allows for 1 position below the chief, but to be appointed, we would ask that we get 2 more, whether those not, and you all keep the testing, the positions that are tested remain tested. These would just be like a commander or a major, as John said, defer to the chief and the deputy chief on what those are called, captain, but that would be somebody to help with the administrative side of things. Correct. Those would be new, subject, of course, to council funding them. Council ultimate funding, council approving them in the budget. I shouldn't use funding. Correct. And then
2 additions.
right. And then on the testing, just add a pass fail. Since we're doing away with the appointed positions at the lower level, a counter proposal would be just have a pass fail assessment component to that. It's not a percentage of the test. It's just pass fail. That's all it is.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to take a step back. For a
Sure,
second.
sure.
Maybe I was going down for a second. I didn't.
I probably spoke too fast.
No,
Yeah,
it's-
no, no.
it's Most likely. Okay, so the two captain or whatever.
Yeah,
positions,
we'll call them captains
you're gonna
for,
still want two more lieutenants.
no, 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 no.
Two
It's,
positions
we
above
want-
the rank of lieutenant.
we want
Okay,
two
so you don't
positions.
want
No,
the two lieutenants or the one sergeant.
no,
It's out.
no. As a counter to that, we're proposing that just have a pass-fail assessment as part of the promotion
Part of the promotion
Leave it the way it is now.
to the appointed position?
to the tested position.
Okay, all right, spell that out to me in the context of classification. So
So lieutenants,
lieutenant,
3 lieutenants, they will continue to be tested. But as a portion of that test, there is a pass-fail, there is an assessment that is pass-fail.
Oh, that's-
There is not, that is not, that's not 10% of the test or 20, we're not talking about that. It is just, there is an assessment, you pass or you fail it. That's it.
So you take your written exam, right? And if you pass, there is an assessment that will now go along with it that is only pass-fail. It has nothing to do with the ranking system. It does not contribute to the test score. It is an effort from the city's perspective to make sure that the people, and it's a liability issue, to make sure that the people that we are promoting can actually in practice do the things that they are performing in a written exam. And again, I want to be clear, because I know how assessments can muddy the water. It's simply pass-fail. If you made a 95 on a lieutenant's test, and there's a lieutenant's assessment, we just want to make sure that you generally know how to perform that job based on your written exam scores. Just as simple as that. It doesn't count in any way toward your score, doesn't count in any way toward your ranking on the promotional list. It's just they passed the written exam, they've been assessed, they actually know how to perform the task that the written exam suggests that they know how to perform. Because if not, if we have a sergeant who's promoted without an assessment, and a decision is made, that can come back and cause a lot of liability issues for our city, because other cities around us and other cities all across this country are moving towards some sort of an assessment. We don't want that assessment to factor in the way that our promotional list is created. But we do need that assessment to verify the things that you all perform in the written exam are things that you all are able to put in practice in a simulation. That makes sense.
Of course, we're willing to talk about that further. There would be some questions like, just off the top, who does the assessment? Sure.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, but I mean, that is something that we're willing to.
Yeah, but we just want to be clear, we're not changing the promotion. The testing scores are the testing scores. The assessment is not going to change the order of that. We just want to be clear of that. Does that make sense?
We're open to a third-party assessment center. We're open to having a negotiation between the union and the leadership on if y'all want to work together to decide the assessment process, who does the assessment, all of that's open.
You 1 second.
We can hear you, right?
He turned his paper.
I'm about to say it again out loud. That's what
He turned his.
I'm not the most.
The backside of his paper now.
I'm confused.
Richard makes a good point when he talks to me, because we're talking about a 1-year contract. And so, I don't think that we're opposed to looking at an alternative promotional system for those, upper echelon administrative positions that would also have a component part for assessment of their managerial abilities. I mean, moving forward, many cities have, using two pieces to that promotional puzzle to try to make sure they get the most qualified leadership.
Mhm.
And so I think, but we're talking about a 1-year agreement, and then we're also talking about a finite period of time.
Mhm.
Now, I've got dozens of contracts, and I have many of those that have that type of promotional language. It's kind of like we worked on hiring process last time, and we perfected some things that made it a lot quicker and faster for the city to recruit.
Mhm.
A lot of that had stuff that I suggested to the city manager, and we can do that again, no problem whatsoever. It's just that we're on a time clock. So if we want to get there from here, I mean, I'm assuming we have in the past, from a contract language standpoint, put into play language that says the chief and the association committee can work for an alternative promotional system.
Mhm.
But I got to be honest with you, that was in the contract previously, and we never got there. We never got there because the chief it slow started it, and then and not this chief, not this
Sure,
chief.
sure.
And then basically, threw something out that wasn't really thought out, and the time ran out before we had a new contract. So that language actually went by the wayside. So we're not opposed to looking at it that way. It's just that in the timeline we're talking about, I don't know that we have the time to come up with something that both sides are going to be happy with, that fits exactly, what you want. But we're certainly willing to discuss it. And I think our membership, had voted it previously in another contract. So I have no doubt that they'll give solid consideration and probably go along with that. It's just a question of time. Can we get it done in the timeline? And if we can't, do we want to consider putting language back in the contract like we previously had 2 contracts ago where it could be worked out? But it's going to be managerial. The chief kind of leads the charge on putting that stuff out and getting everybody together. So
Why don't you, John, why don't you give us your best assessment language from all across the state, and you put it in the contract? How about we let you, it has to be an assessment, and it's going to be beneficial to our officers, and I'll tell you why. Here's what I've taken promotional exams myself. It scares me, John, that I can be in the top 3 of for a test for a driver, a captain, or whatever we were doing in the fire department, sergeant, lieutenant, or whatever happens in the police department. And that chief, or any chief, could decide to step over me, right? The only reason that a chief would ever decide to overstep a person on a promotional exam is because they don't believe that person can do the job. A pass-fail assessment takes that completely off the table.
Right.
It is a protector of the rank and file and their ability to perform in the job function that they are seeking to get. You give us the language. It just has to be an assessment. That's all I'm saying. And that can happen in a short period of time because you've been all over the state and you got 18 assessments in that computer right there.
Mayor, may I speak?
Yeah.
I'm very aligned with what the mayor's saying. Before my tenure, you know what I'm talking about, John. This assessment thing, wasn't agreed on. You wanted 90%, just saying 90% for tenure, and chief wanted this. What the mayor's saying is, we're never going to get there in this calendar year, probably not in this decade, unless you put together the plan. Because I know the deputy chief told me how it went 3 or 5 years ago. It didn't go anywhere. It was like the percentage should be this, and we were saying this. All we want is we want to be able to pick the most proficient, experienced, committed, performance-oriented person. We don't want it to be just the number of years in service. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say this, somebody saying, people are the most important asset. That is probably not correct. It's the right people are your most important asset, the right people. And that's what we want to pick, is the right person for the job. So if you could put together what the mayor's saying, it's very shrewd. You put together the plan, because if we do, it's never going to get there. I'll be retired 5 years before it comes to pass. So that's what I'm thinking of. So do you put it together and we'll tweak it, probably not much, but we'll have something. We don't want, I'll tell you right now, you saw what happened. You all saw what happened. We're using the valid reason right now for not promoting. I don't care if a guy makes 120 on the test. If I have a valid reason, that person's not going to get promoted. We'll go next one. I know it's going to be appeals and all that, but we got to do that to get the right person. So help us do that. A pass fail to what he's saying, because you start doing the scores in 96, 494, pass or fail, but make it be reasonable. We'll go with that.
So my question to you is, if John comes up with an assessment, the plan that we all agree on, does that take the power away from you? If they pass that assessment, you can't pass anybody anymore?
I think
There still could be a valid reason, I guess.
well, we will discuss that further, but yes, I understand where you're
Yeah,
coming from.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I mean, I
Yeah.
think,
No,
I think that would be a good
Yeah.
idea, but that should take the power away from him to
Probably
pass
could.
people if.
So I see it limits his ability. I know Gus, I get where Gus is going. Gus never wants us to say never,
Yeah. I got you.
right? Because all sorts of other things come into play that have nothing to do with a test or an assessment, and I think that's what he's alluding to. But let's say everything else is clean and everything else is clear, and all these chiefs have to go by is you made a 97 on your test and you passed your assessment.
Mhm.
It'll be hard for him or any other chief to pass you over if that's all they have to go on. If there are other factors, if there's discipline,
Right.
if there are other things that, you know, that are beyond our control, those factors come into play, and Gus is right by saying the city doesn't want to pigeonhole itself into saying guaranteed. But if everything else is equal, you made a 97, he made a 96, he made a 95, all three of y'all's passed y'all's assessment. Nothing stands out in y'all's disciplinary history or anything like that. And he still gets the promotion. Well, your union has a good fight on its hands, right? Because there's nothing else there that could be considered as to why. The way it is now, 97, 96, 95, he might think that you are an incompetent person. No, he's not gonna be a good lieutenant. He can barely tie his shoes. Goes to this guy, and there's not a whole lot y'all can do about it. But if you can prove that you can tie your shoes, that takes one less thing away from whoever the chief is. This guy might be a nice chief, he might be a dictator, right? Just takes that one element away.
And that's what we also have to realize, is that we may not have anything against him, or I'm using him as an example, but the best intentions may be from that side of the table. But what about the next people that take y'all's place?
Right.
And so we don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
give up something that's going to come back to bite us later on, because maybe the nicest chief in the world, or we could end up with
Right.
somebody like we had in the past.
And that
So-
assessment, again, I'm in agreement that it should, at this point, just be pass fail. That assessment, union brother to union brother, it ultimately protects you. Because it proves I can do this job. I scored high, and I've proven through simulation that I can do this job. What else are you gonna say, chief? Now you're just picking on it.
Mayor, one more thing. I know the big contention was, an assessment center, that the people on the assessment center might know the people. They need to be as disinterested as possible. Even if it's a company that's hired. I know that was a big contention, Richard. You know that. We want that out of it. And I don't want them thinking that they know this person, they're related. So make it in your workup as disinterested as possible.
I'd like to make a couple of comments about conceptually how you find most of these style promotional systems set up throughout the state. I've never seen one that's pass or fail only. I've only seen them so that you create an assessment, and that assessment is can be done in many different ways.
Right.
I would say, most commonly today is an outside company that is hired by the city to meet with the chief, find out what, because their job is to put together the best assessment, not necessarily know every single thing about police management. So between HR and the chief, they build a composite
Mhm.
that represents the assessment that will be the same for every single person. And then typically it's a weighted average. So like promotional tests, and I'm just going to use random numbers for a lieutenant position, it's not uncommon to see the weighted average being 75% test and then 25% assessment. Whereas in captains, it might be 50-50. The higher up you go in the administration, the more hands-on managerial definition of your skills needs to be brought out to make a determination who's the better candidate is what I think most cities believe in. So, but it's not the cat's meow, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a byproduct of having a professional company, work with your folks to align an assessment that really gets at the core values of what you're trying to solicit from your competitors. And then understand that these promotions are very, very competitive. I mean, many cases in civil service cities that the tie comes out 20th of 100%. I mean, and that's why they're scored. They're not pass or fail, because when you make it conceptually a 75-25, 25% of the total score is going to be based on the assessment, and they score it, and they typically score it with and as an example, the assessment company normally handles selecting lieutenants from area police departments that already do the job that you're evaluating for, and then they come in and they're the assessors, so they know no one. I mean, there's questionnaires in advance, so if I happen to know you because you worked one city down, I wouldn't be on the assessment panel. So things of that nature. So it's that's what we find most prevalent today. And conceptually, if that's where you want to go, we can certainly, talk about that. But like I said, if your goal is just, pass or fail connotates an entirely different assessment in my mind. It's like, here's a list of things that you have to be able to do, and we're going to run it down that list, and you're going to, it may be, we'll call it an assessment of sorts, but it may be role playing. It may, where an outside company comes in and gives you a managerial question that you have to resolve. And then I have one department that you literally have to get up and make a presentation with slides and everything on managerial level information. And then they're graded by the assessment as part of it. That's only one part of it, because as you know, there's several parts to management. There are role-playing exercises where you have to discipline an employee as a lieutenant. I mean, it's all over, the map as far as what these assessment centers can put together to bring out those quality traits. So we're certainly willing to talk about that. But like I said, on a conceptual basis, we have to have a little bit more than just pass or fail, because these are very, very competitive. If you have 6 sergeants take the test and 6 sergeants that go through an assessment,
Right.
all 6 of them may pass. Now we're right back where we started, which is test only. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you might conceptually consider whether or not you want these assessments graded out, because there's always people who perform better than others. And so if you're actually trying to find that person or that group of people that, in the rule of 3, there's, the chief has options. In that context, conceptually, the assessments need to be pretty finite. They need to be graded. They need to be determined what percentage of the total grade will be. You'll find throughout the state, tenure with the department tends to go down when you're, competing for captain or deputy chief in a test situation, because like I said, you want to determine the best person for the job based on assessments. And if they've developed themselves along the management path, they'll all do well. You know what I'm saying? But I just, there has to be, in my mind, some grading matrix that allows people to be separated based on their qualities. But
Yeah.
everybody has to be given the same exact assessment, the same exact way with the same sisters. And so,
So I would say, I would say, because this is a new concept for us, it's like when you go take your driver's test, right? You know, you take the written and then you get in the car with whoever the person is that you take the test. You either pass or you don't, right? And at this juncture with our folks, and this is new to them, right? I believe that they have I'm sensing that the interest is more if we take baby steps. If we see how this works just on a pass fail. Now there's a scoring system, I'm sure. You know, there may be 10 questions or 10 centers or however that looks. And it may be that you have to be proficient in 7 out of the 10. Some folks might be proficient in 9 out of the 10. We get that, but at this point, we just want to make sure that you can do the job that we're promoting you to do. And that's the most important thing for us. It's the same way with a driver's license. Can you drive a motor vehicle? You know, are you going to run everybody over, kill you and everyone else in your path? Or can we trust you to operate that motor vehicle? Same concept at this juncture. Again, there may be some sort of scoring system behind the scenes with the assessment team, but when it comes back to our folks, it's going to say Garcia pass, King pass, right? And that's all at this point we would need to move those folks to the next step. If the officers in future negotiations get used to this process and they like it and they want to, you know, hey, wait a minute, you know, I'm way better on the scene than this guy. And that discussion is brought to us where it starts to become something different, then that would be okay too. But right now, I think the concern from our side is that we have a basic assessment and that our officers prove proficient to do the job that they've tested for, pass, fail.
I clearly understand where you're going. I'll have to have, you know, a
Sure.
dialogue with the team to decide, you know, how they want to work on it. But like I said, we're still talking about, you know, a very short finite period of time and a 1-year contract. So, we'll see what we can do. And then as soon as, you know, we get the spreadsheet, we'll start working on some numbers and stuff. And see what we can come up with that we might be able to counter back with.
You want to talk next meeting then?
Yeah, let's figure out next meeting.
And I assume, John, you and I just going to trade extension.
The one prohibition of time that I'm dealing with in this, I have a out-of-state vacation plan, so I'll be out of pocket from the 15th until the 26th. So we could shoot for the 13th or the 27th of August or thereafter, but
Wait, you're out the 15th through the 27th?
yeah, I'll be gone the 15th through the 26th, so I could be back here on whatever days we want to do this, we do it, but we previously done them on Wednesday, so.
Now, the 13th through the 15th. I can appear
What time
I'm the 13th through the 15th.
of
Traveling on-
August, right?
Traveling on the 13th. Y'all want to meet on the 13th? I can join via Zoom.
You do it at 1 o'clock, same time?
No, he's saying he's not available.
Okay.
I'm available to listen.
The afternoons work best for me, or mid-morning, 11-ish. I know we got somebody, is that you, King, who has to drink 20 Red Bulls to get up?
I've been up.
Yeah, but you over there wobbling. I saw you. I was gonna count you out. I'm gonna count you out in a minute.
Well, if the 27th would be a day that worked, that would give us time to massage the numbers and work the spreadsheets. And maybe come up with something hard and
Are
fast,
you here on the 27th?
but
Chief,
is that a,
27th okay with you?
What time? 1 o'clock?
Oh, we're.
1 o'clock?
Afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll cancel. I'll have something I could cancel, but make it 1 o'clock. I'll be good.
So we're all agree that.
also, statutorily, we're up against deadline, and one of the things that I forwarded for you was a copy of an extension letter, which I'm assuming that Gus has already made you aware of, but we're at a stage statutorily, we have to extend our negotiations on a 15-day basis, and we'll be due for another extension on August the 11th.
Okay.
So is there going to be any problem with us extending the deadline for negotiations another? And I wish it was written a little different in statute, but it only allows us to do it in 15-day blocks. Because, you know, we can certainly do one document that says until we're done, but so every 15 days we have to consummate a new agreement. And Gus, as the legal advisor of the city, has always been able to sign those things, but you're now the city manager, so as long as somebody on that team signs it, you're in agreement. I want to make sure everybody knows where we're going with this. So that way we've been, you know, he has all those handy dandy legal programs that you can electronically sign and everything. So,
Like assistants.
Yeah, I would.
so we'll exchange another extension when it's due. And when'd you say you were leaving?
The 13th.
13, okay.
Right. 27th at 1 o'clock.
Well, hey, we really appreciate it all, and we understand what the city's been going through, and we've been
Yeah.
feeling it too, but we're glad that we're on the right track, and Ms. Holly, I understand that you're not here for the long haul, but, you know, I hope you enjoy your time here, and I hope you can get this ship set the right way.
Did you say ship?
What did you say?
I said ship.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I said ship.
I
I don't have a filter normally, but I thought about that word before I said it.
I know you said, I think we both know you said ship, but we just couldn't resist, man.
And so you guys know that this is serious coming from the top down, that the first thing that I did was say, we're not gonna hire the deputy city manager, which is about 80,000 just in salary. Because we got, in my mind, we have to set the tone from the top. And if we have to do belt tightening, it starts with the city manager's office. So we recognize that.
Thank you all for being patient with us again. We'll wrap this meeting up with 1,000 thank yous for what you do every day for us, the things that we take for granted. But also how you all have behaved, not just this time that we've had challenges, but in previous years where we've had challenges. Y'all have mentioned one. Y'all have been more than accommodating and very understanding of the things that we're trying to do for our community. And so kudos to you. I wish we could pay you in thank yous and y'all could take that to the store to get bread for your babies, but this is a dollar and cents world. And so we're going to do everything we can to get you in the best position possible to take care of your families.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. We'll adjourn.